Hey, what's up guys? This is MMA Prediction Guru here. We're back for another video for odds.com, Odds HQ. Make sure to, check out all the other content on the YouTube channel. I know Just Bleed just made a video yesterday, I believe, the Odds Whisperer. He's starting that new video series, so make sure to check that out. Tomorrow we're going to be breaking down the fights for the Dana White Contender Series as well. Wednesday we have our breakdown, so we're going to be giving you stuff all week, man, so make sure to be locked into the channel. Make sure to check out the website as well. There's a lot of good stuff on the website. There's actually been a lot of people making a lot of money there on other mainstream sports, so I would recommend checking that out as well. But this video is going to be another Dana White Contender Series full betting perspective video where I talk about the odds, tell you what I think about the fighters and if I would bet it or if I would pass. And unfortunately the bookmaker is a little bit slow. I was hoping to be able to talk about props with you guys, but they aren't posted yet. Last week they got them out nice and early, so I'm sure they will get out some props, but as of now we just have to go with money line plays, things like that. And yeah, so the first fight of the night here is Anthony Adams taking on Sagainain. And both these guys already did fight in the Dana White Contender Series. Sagainain was victorious in his fight over Kalen Hill. He was a big underdog as well, so it was a good win for him. And unfortunately, Anthony Adams took a loss there. He lost by split decision, and he had to go on the regional scene, get another win, and now he's back here. But both these guys have been really inactive. Sagainain, it was funny, after he won that fight on Contender Series, he went up to Dana White. He told him, I want to fight 3, 4, 5 more times this year. I'm ready to go. And unfortunately, he's had a lot of struggles booking fights on the regional scene. He's had 3 fights pull out. Hasn't fought since that Dana White Contender Series win, which was, I believe, a little bit over a year ago at this point, or a little bit under a year, but right around that year marker. And he's going to be taking on Anthony Adams, who hasn't fought since, I believe, January or February of 2019. So he's had an extended layoff after he did get a knockout victory in LFA. It was his first finish as well. And looking at the weigh-ins today, Anthony Adams is a natural 170. It's funny, man. It's like whenever the UFC calls him to come do the Contender Series, they call him and they tell him to do it at 185, because those are the only 2 fights he's ever fought at 185 in his career. All his other fights were at 170 pounds. So I will say he is going to be a little bit undersized here, but actually at the weigh-ins, I was actually surprised. It looked like he put on some weight, put on some muscle, put on some size for this matchup. So maybe he's planning on staying at 185 now for good. Not really sure about that one, but it should be a good fight. Anthony Adams, he's going to have a lot more experience. Impa, still a little bit young in his career. Anthony's fought more fights. He's fought more grizzled veterans, things like that. And Impa is the undefeated guy. He's going to be the better athlete, and he is the favorite here in this matchup. He's actually a minus 215 favorite in this one. Anthony Adams is coming back at plus 170. And that line, I wouldn't touch that line at all, because Impa, he is impressive. He's an ox. He's a great athlete. He's one of these guys that just kind of jumps off the screen at you a little bit. He's very dynamic at times. You could tell like he's an explosive guy, but low volume. He kind of has a counter punching style with good low kicks. He does have good presence, and I feel like he is going to be the fighter that is controlling the cage, walking down Adams, because Adams, more of a counter guy, likes to use a lot of movement, stay on the outside, throw a lot of kicks, and he doesn't throw a lot of volume either. So both these guys are going to be probably low volume, with, I believe, Impa, controlling the center and walking him down. And I think Adams, he's been training at Team Elevation, and he does have a decent grappling game, where I believe that's what he's going to try to do here, because I don't think he wants to strike with Impa, who I believe is a little bit bigger. He's a little bit more explosive, and I think that he's going to want to try to, move around, kick a little bit, time a takedown, get it to the ground. And once he gets it to the ground, I think that that's where he's going to try to exploit Impa, get the finish or just control, get the win that way, because we have seen Impa controlled on the ground, things like that. But I will say, in his fight with Kalen Hill, looked very much improved with his get-ups, with his takedown defense, got a couple of takedowns of his own. But Hill was able to get some takedowns, and Hill was only 4-0, so I don't think that he really fought with a good game plan. He wasn't looking to exploit that part of his game. He didn't really grapple heavy during the fight. He allowed it to be more of a striking fight. And actually, when they grappled, Impa showed, really, the better grappling. He was too strong for the guy. He was able to reverse, get top position, really kind of dominate there. So it was a good showing for Impa Sagainain. And I am going to pick him here in this fight. I just believe that he'll probably be able to deny the takedowns of Adams. He'll be the better overall striker in terms of throwing more volume coming forward. But I'm not willing to lay over 2-1 chalk on Impa. He's young in his career. He's only 6-0. Adams has 9 fights. Adams has fought the better fighters. So I feel like this is a pass fight. I know Impa looks fun on tape. He looks like he's someone that you'd want to bet on, but I think it could be a little bit of a trap. Maybe he'll lose the fight. But I'm going to pick him to win here. I think it'll be a decision. I'm not sure either guy will get the contract, but I'm going to go with Impa Sagainain on that one. And then in the second fight of the night, we do have a guy that's pretty highly touted prospect coming in TJ Laramie. He's going to be taking on Daniel Swain, and this is a great fight. I mean, TJ Laramie, he's 11-3. He's fought very good guys. He's beaten guys like Charles Jourdain, who's currently in the UFC. Daniel Swain, 29-1. So he's had over 30 fights, a lot of experience. He's traveled to Russia. He's fought in China. So, he's done it all. He's been there. He's done it. So he's going to be ready to go here. Probably, have a lot of confidence with this opportunity. Really be trying to go for it. Because he's the older guy. He's the veteran. Doesn't really have the best record, so this is going to be, probably his last opportunity to get in the UFC. Laramie, he's a younger kid. He's a young gun, so he's going to have a lot more time, a lot more chances. Even if he loses this fight, he'll probably be able to ultimately get his way back into the UFC. But when I'm looking at the fight, I mean, Laramie, he seems like an all-rounder, pretty good at everything, but not the best at anything. Pretty good striking. He has like a good double jab, good feints. Trains with Cody Stamen, kind of has a similar game to him. He has wrestling, decent, counter striking, low volume, economical striking, good feints, good fakes. Gets his way in there well, controls in the clinch, gets takedowns. And, his wrestling is pretty good as well, but I wouldn't say anything is elite. He does do a good job of blending his game together, and his cardio is very good. He's very tough as well, good chin. So he has a lot of intangibles. And he's, able to, out-grapple strikers, out-strike grapplers. So, well-rounded, good game there. And for his opponent, Daniel Swain is a well-rounded guy as well. But I would say definitely more of a grappler for Swain. And early on, Swain is a bad dude, man. I mean, he's really good in the grappling, good knees in the Muay Thai plum, good elbows. He fought Alex Da Silva, who's currently in the UFC, a good fighter. He was able to drop him, took his back, got close on a submission, and, he probably 10-8'd Alex Da Silva in the first round, so he really showed his skills. More of a counter puncher. His striking is not that good. I mean, he can kind of get backed up, kind of has a little bit awkward striking, but does look like he hits hard. And his grappling is good, though. Good timing on his wrestling, good double legs, good single legs, even good in the body locks. Really likes taking the back, really good guillotine. So he's a dangerous guy on top, on bottom. On bottom, he'll throw up triangles, arm bars. So early on, Laramie, I would think Laramie would more want to strike with him a little bit. Stay on the feet, be safe, but, work him over a little bit, strike a little bit, hold him against the cage, control him, zap his energy. Because one thing about Daniel Swain is he's been finished a lot of times. I believe 7 times, 5 TKO losses. And it's not like the guy really loses or gets knocked out cold or he has a bad chin. It's a cardio issue. So he doesn't hold the same pace that he holds in the first round. So I feel like Laramie, being a smart guy, he's probably going to come in there with the game plan. First round, you got to respect this guy. You got to show, a lot of respect to his ground game. You can't be sloppy in there. And then in the second and the third round, that's where you could take over. So I feel like that's what's going to happen here. Unless Daniel Swain, like I said, really takes this opportunity serious, ups his cardio, then potentially it could be a lot closer fight, because I do believe Swain is a skillful fighter. But I'm going to go with TJ Laramie to get a second or third round finish. I just believe Swain will probably slow down. Laramie will be able to, get in there, get the finish. And looking at the line, I mean, it kind of reflects Laramie as a big favorite, minus 365, minus 350 in some places, minus 400. So, right around minus 350 to minus 400 range. And you can get Daniel Swain at around plus 275. I do think for this card, at least, TJ is one of the safer parlay plays. Up next, we have Vanessa Demopolis taking on Corey McKenna. And this is an interesting fight, because we have McKenna, who's 21 years old. I believe Demopolis is 31, 32, so big age difference between these two girls here. But it's going to be a fun fight. I believe it's going to be a scrappy fight. Both these girls are more grapplers. McKenna, she's more of a wrestler. She likes to get in top position, control, be very heavy, throw ground and pound. Good ground and pound for 115. I mean, she hits hard. She does a good job of throwing ground and pound to create passing opportunities. Good at taking the back. And when she takes the back or the mount, she's dangerous. She can hit submissions. And that's kind of her game. She's not really a good athlete on the feet. Doesn't really hit hard. Doesn't really offer much. She maybe is a little bit more technical with the boxing than Demopolis. But Vanessa Demopolis, she is a jiu-jitsu girl. She actually got the silver medal at the Pan Am No-Gi Games in 2019. And she, hits submissions off her back. She'll hit submissions from standing. She can hit submissions on top. So she's just an opportunistic submission hunter. On the feet, she's not very good, but she throws back hard. She throws good kicks. She can, throw hard punches. I believe that she throws faster punches and harder punches than McKenna does. McKenna is probably a little bit more technical, and Demopolis, her defense is not very good. I mean, when you watch her fight in LFA with Sam Hughes had a lot of success on the feet, hurt her multiple times, really was beating her from pillar to post for 4 rounds. And, Demopolis was able to catch a Hail Mary reverse triangle submission in the 4th round, and it just shows that, 1, Demopolis is always dangerous on the ground, and 2, it showed that maybe she's not there with her striking, but she's a very tough girl. She's willing to eat shots, continue to come forward. She's not going to quit on herself. And she won the LFA title. It was a 5-round fight. That's better than anything McKenna can say. I mean, McKenna did have a split decision loss to Nicole DeSigny, but she hasn't really beaten anyone of note besides that. She hasn't fought anyone of note. And she's going to be the younger girl here. I do believe that this is a close fight. The line indicates that. I think Demopolis she's getting moved up a little bit. Now she's at minus 170. McKenna at plus 140. I do believe the line should be a little bit closer than that. I don't think that Demopolis should be lined that highly. But I feel like this is going to be a grappling fight. I don't believe these girls are going to be like two grapplers that stand up and strike, because I just don't think that I don't know. I just think it's going to go to the ground. I don't think that they have the skill set to stand up and strike for 3 rounds. It's going to be sloppy. Someone's going to try to get the takedown. And I believe that Demopolis in that type of game will just probably be able to find a submission or, get the sweeps, control, and just control the grappling, win the fight. So I'm going to go with Vanessa Demopolis here. But this is one of my least confident picks on the card. I would not advise betting on this fight either way, betting on the props. I don't know. It's a women's fight. It's a 115 fight. 2 low-level girls. 2 grapplers. I would just not touch it. I mean, McKenna hasn't fought in a long time. So at a young age, she could come out here look a lot better. So that's another variable. I just would leave that one alone there. So up next, we do have a good fight. Adrian Giannis taking on Brady Huang. Adrian Giannis, he's 10-3. And he's fought some good guys. He's fought Miles Johns. He's fought Domingo Pilarte. He's going to be taking on Brady, who's 11-1, but really hasn't tested himself against the same level of competition. He did go to Japan. His last fight, he went to Pancrase, got a win over a 15-7 guy. That was probably the best win of his career. He also has his one loss was to Martin Day, who's in the UFC, who's a 125 or 135er. He got knocked out in that fight. And for Adrian Giannis, his 3 losses, he had a loss early on in his career, and then he had 2 split decision losses. 1 split decision loss to Domingo Pilarte, and a split decision loss to Miles Johns. Both those guys are in the UFC, so those aren't bad losses, there. He arguably could have won. One judge gave him the win. And this is going to be a good fight. I mean, both these guys are well-rounded guys. Giannis, he has kind of a counter-grappling boxing style, forward pressure, real good combinations, really, good slip and rips. He holds his hands low, really trusts his eyes, and, he wants to see the shots coming, slip, pull counter. He'll throw it to the body, really mixes it up well. Good kicks also. He's a good striker on the feet, but holding his hands low, he does, like I said, trust his eyes and trust his chin. He gets clipped sometimes, but is a really tough guy, has a lot of heart. You have to put him out, man. He's going to continue to pressure. Brady Huang, he's, more of a, like, meat and potatoes Muay Thai striker. Throws a lot of straight 1-2s, not a lot of movement, a lot of low kicks, just kind of likes to stay in the pocket, slip and rip, pull counter, and he's willing to go to war. So will Giannis, so I think it's going to be a fun fight, but I think Giannis is going to be the guy that's controlling the tempo and controlling the range. I think he's going to be the one that's going to be probably backing Brady up. And in his fight with Martin Day, it looked like Brady, he didn't look that good in pocket exchanges. A lot of these guys that he's fighting are like really low-level guys with bad records where he's able to go in there, throw some shots, throw some low kicks, hurt him, get him out of there. They don't really throw back at him, but in the exchanges with Martin Day, he was pulling back. His defense didn't look very good, so that's a little bit alarming. One thing I will say about Brady that he probably does have better than Giannis is he has a really good double leg takedown. It's pretty nice. He times it well. And if he could just get takedowns and lay on Giannis, we have seen Miles Johns and Domingo Pilarte kind of use that to get a victory over him. But I feel like Giannis, he's really improved that part of his game. And I do like his counter grappling style, his get-ups, his defensive wrestling. And I think that that's going to be enough to stop the grappling of Brady. Brady really hasn't fought guys that give him, hard looks, that really give him adversity, that can stand up from under him. So I think that he's not going to be able to just control like he wants to, and I think it's going to be a tougher fight for him than he's used to, and I think that Adrian has just tested himself on the regional scene much more. He's tested himself against better fighters, so I think that he's going to be more ready for the war, more ready for the big moment. I think that he'll probably go in there, get the victory, but Brady, he does have some dangerous tools, that low kick, the grappling, he can maybe hit a high kick, so Brady has some chances to win in this fight. Looking at the line, Giannis minus 300, Brady plus 240. Kind of agree with that though. I mean, like I said, just the level of competition that these guys have faced, and I just think that Adrian is probably the tougher guy. I think that he's probably the better striker, and if he could just control the distance and not get taken down and held down, he'll probably win the fight. So kind of agree with that line. It is a little bit wide, but I do think Giannis is another guy that you could stick in a parlay. So I like Adrian Giannis there. And then the main event, Dustin Stolfus taking on Joe Pyfer. This is a good fight, man. This should be a banger. Both these guys come in, they come to war. Joseph Pyfer, he is 7-1, and Dustin Stolfus is 12-1. Stolfus definitely has tested himself against the better competition. He's fought better guys, and he's been longer in fights. I mean, he's fought to decisions, things like that, where Joe Pyfer, all of his fights are finishes. So he definitely has the more high-level experience. But Pyfer, man, he's a bad dude. He doesn't give a shit, and he's gonna, be a college wrestler here with big knockout power on the feet. He's wild, he's open, but he's a good athlete. He looks long, he likes to walk guys down, throw some straights out there, and he has a good double leg as well. He likes to get takedowns in the body lock also, and I mean, he really just likes to use his striking, back guys up. He's a long guy, so he can kind of pull counter, use range pretty well, back fighters up with long straights, close that distance, and then try to get the body lock, get the double again on top. And on top, he's not really super technical, but it's more just brute physicality and strength and just good athleticism, good explosiveness. He gets in there, gets on top of these guys. He'll posture up and he'll throw big bombs and take them out. I mean, he has big knockout power, walks guys down at times, stalks them also on the feet when he gets confident. And I mean, he's a good guy. He's young, he's brash, he's a little bit rough around the edges, a little bit raw, and even on the ground, I mean, his jiu-jitsu doesn't look like it's the greatest. I've seen him putting deep guillotines. He has been guillotined before. He does have a decent rear naked choke, and he's a dangerous guy. I mean, that's the one thing you have to say about him, But Dustin Stolfus, he's a striker, more of a Muay Thai striker. He's a little bit stiff, but has those good counters, the good kicks, good low kicks, good body kicks, good head kicks, really heavy hooks. He throws everything into his hooks. And his grappling is really improving. I mean, you've seen him earlier in his fights get taken down, but then you watch his recent fights and he's taking guys down, he's taking their backs, he's controlling them, he's getting them in twisters, and he has pretty good back takes and 5 submissions overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, and it's weird, man. I mean, he's fought all his fights in Germany, but he's from Pennsylvania. His opponent, Joe Pyfer, is also from Pennsylvania, so it's like he's fighting in Germany. They're both from Pennsylvania, and they're going to go fight each other in Nevada. I mean, a little bit bizarre, but should be a fun fight. It should be a back-and-forth fight. I feel like Pyfer is live. I mean, he has the knockout power. I've seen Dustin taken down, like I said, in previous fights, but it looks like he has been shoring that up in his game. It's going to be, technicality, a polished guy in Dustin who's pretty good everywhere, pretty good athlete, versus Joe Pyfer, who's a very good athlete, very long, very tall guy, and someone that goes in there and tries to take your head off. So if he can knock out Dustin, then that's great for him. But I believe as the fight starts to get extended, I think Dustin's technique and his just cleanness will start to take over. So I'm going to pick Dustin Stolfus here. I think that he's just the better overall fighter. I think that as the fight goes on, he's going to start to pull away. I think that the way that Joe kind of defends striking on the feet, if he can't get the takedown, he could be in trouble. So I'm going to go with Dustin Stolfus. I think that he's going to get the victory here. And in terms of, that fight, I do think that minus 250 for Stolfus is a little steep. I wouldn't recommend playing that. Plus 190 on Joe Pyfer isn't a terrible line if you just want to go out there to take a stab on an underdog. I do like the fight not to go to decision, so when that prop comes out, make sure to check that out, look at it, and if it's anywhere like minus 400 or under, I do believe that's a decent parlay piece as well. For this card, I'm not like last week. I gave you guys a very confident pick in Jordan Levitt, a good parlay, and both those hit. This week, I'm not as confident in terms of the lines that I'm seeing. I really wouldn't recommend you to go big on any of these plays. So if you really want to do, just get some action in there, throw a play on there. I do believe that, if you do a parlay with Adrian Giannis and TJ Laramie, get like a 70% return, that'll probably hit. I wouldn't go very heavy on it because I do believe there's potential that one of those guys could get upset. But, if you really want to, put something on there, I do believe that could maybe get you a little bit of money to go into Saturday and continue on. So that would be my suggestion if you do want to make a play. Like I said, for the props, I do believe Pyfer and Stolfus won't go to decision. I don't think that Swain and Laramie will go to decision. The other 3 do have better chances to go to decision. So those 2 are the ones that I would pinpoint if you want to do like a parlay with 2 fights not to go to decision as well. So that's going to be the full betting analysis for the Dana White Contender Series for Odds HQ for odds.com. So make sure to like the video, comment down below, tell me what you think, who you're picking. Do you like this week? Do you think there's going to be any guys that translate to the UFC and become stars? And thanks, man. Thanks for watching. Thanks for always supporting this channel. Make sure to check out MMA Prediction Guru. And I'm out, guys.